Hi everyone, my name is Piterpakulski. Today we'll continue building financial model for a manufacturing business idea. Today we'll be covering fixed costs. So when you have some business idea, you have to think what types of costs are stable during the year, the typical year. And today we'll be modeling these type of costs. Despite of their being called fixed costs, they may have some seasonality, they may have some algorithms, and today we will be covering that kind of stuff. So if you find this video valuable, you may give us a like, subscribe, share this video with your friends. You can also order financial models from scratch for your unique business ideas. We can help you with that. At the end screen of this video, I will be sharing the link to the playlist where all these tutorials will be kept. And when we finish this financial model, I will be giving you all the links on tutorials in the description of this video as well. So you can watch these videos one by one how we created this model from scratch. So first of all, let's briefly look what we were modeling during previous tutorials. So we have blue cells as our inputs. So at previous tutorials we were covering products, we were creating the algorithms for 2 production lines, then we were modeling shifts for our production lines, manufacturing lines. Then we moved to raw materials and describe the algorithms that work with for raw materials. Then we specified what raw materials participate in our products, product A and product B manufacturing process. Then we start modeling investment plan. Then we started working on the payroll that is linked to line number 1, line number 2. Then we worked with payroll that is linked to the amount of units of products produced, product A and product B. We worked on fixed payroll. Then we worked with the payroll linked to the amount of units of product A and product B produced. Then we started working on revenues. So we have different types of customers. For each customer we have different pricing, payments algorithms. Then we moved to electricity costs, then other types of direct expenses linked to the amount of raw materials needed in manufacturing process. Then we start talking about direct costs that are linked to the amount of shifts for line number 1 and line number 2. Then we start describing packaging costs, the costs for pallets. And now let's talk about fixed expenses. So let's create a new block of inputs. So let's call it fixed costs. Here on the left we will be putting fixed cost item. So let's say we have 10 articles for fixed costs. So this is the new block of inputs. Here Here on the right I will be creating the typical year. Typical year. So for example this color. So here on the left, so these are the inputs, so I'm coloring these cells with blue because blue is the unique color for all our inputs. So this is our rule inside our model to make us be able to find all the inputs easily when financial model is done. And here we will be describing the fixed costs of a typical year. So what is interesting about fixed costs? So for example, some fixed costs are stable and really fixed, and they have stable values inside the typical year. For example, some fixed costs we have them only, for example, in summer months. Some fixed costs, you have to think about your business idea and try to remember what kind of costs do you have, whether they are variables or whether they are stable, but they occur, for example, only from January to May, and from, for example, August, and from September till December. So they have some seasonality. Or for example, some expenses may occur, for example, once in a quarter. So they are fixed, but we can't just take the same value and divide it evenly inside the year. So this is wrong, and that's why you have to think hard and try to. So for example, some fixed costs will occur once a year in, for example, in February. Some fixed costs will occur, for example, in once a half a year. For example, one in July, one in January, and one in July. And some of them can be really stable, like this. So when we are talking about fixed costs, they are not really fixed. They may have also some seasonality. They may have some algorithms. That's why we need to create this typical year and put inside this typical year the names of fixed cost items, articles, and specify the values of these expenses inside this typical year. This will help you to calculate the right amount of money that you will need to start your project, because for example, if you have some significant payments like this and the operating activity starts, for example, in January, you may have some operating losses caused by these huge, for example, expenses. So that's why you have to think about fixed costs very attentively and try to remember all the articles that go into this category. So what's next? So now let's create some on-off coefficients to make us be able to play with all these data easily later. So I will be using data validation. So this is the input, and we will be coloring this input with blue as well. So for example, later we will be able to switch on and off this article from calculations. Then I would like to add some other coefficients, so I will be adding a local coefficient, and global coefficient. Let's just create some additional column for on off. So if this value equals to on, then we will put 1, otherwise 0. So this means that if we are switching this off, we have 0 here, and this will switch this expense from calculations. So what we are going to do now, let's create a timeline. Let's name it fixed costs step 1. So let's get back a little bit. Let's go here. So here we will place the names of fixed cost items. And now here let's place the data. So first of all, I'm taking this value, then I multiply it on the first coefficient, on off. Then I multiply it on local coefficient, freezing the column, and then I'm multiplying it on global coefficient. Then I'm pressing enter. So this will be the first year. Then I'm extrapolating these formulas to the right. So, and what we are fighting for. So for example, let's go here. So for example, if we want to switch off fixed cost item number 10 from calculations, we can go here, off, and see how this line disappeared. This is the first thing that we can do. Then, for example, we would like to see what will happen with our project if this type of expense will be 3 times bigger. And then we can look at the cash flow statement at simple discounted payback period to analyze what will happen. Or we can, for example, look at what will happen with the project if all fixed expenses will rise on 30%. So all that stuff will be later needed for scenario modeling process when we'll be done with financial model. Then let's copy this table, and it's time to crop it. So this is the first step, and then fixed costs, this will be dollar per month. So here we will place the item for each for fixed costs. And now we will write here a very simple formula. We will just take these values, but now we need to crop this timeline and start all these expenses from the moment when we start the operating activity. So this is the value, and now we should go up, and so this is the project timeline, and here we have the production 0111. This means that we are going to link all the fixed expenses to this specific line when to the moment when we do have an operating activity, and we are freezing this line. So 0 means that we don't have operating activity at this moment. 1 means that we have an operating activity at this moment. So if we look at December 23, so in this line, so this will be the moment when we start operating activity. Now I'm pressing enter, and I will be extrapolating this formula to the bottom and to the right. So here we can see how these expenses occur for the first time. So what is good now, so we can play with all these coefficients and what is valuable. For example, we can go up and we can easily displace our project, for example, to May 23, and all our fixed costs will displace to the May 23. So we're coloring these expenses with red because they will go to the cash flow statement later. So now we're done with fixed costs. Maybe this video was useful for you. You may give us a like, subscribe, share this video with your friends. You can also order financial models from scratch for your unique business ideas. We can help you with that. At the end screen of this video, I will give you the link to the playlist where I will keep all these tutorials. And when I will be done with this financial model, I will put all the links on the tutorials in the description of this video as well, so you can watch all these tutorials from the description. So see you guys in next videos. Like, share, subscribe. Bye.